For 80 years, the United States sold weapons to the world. Now the world's most powerful military is buying attack drones from Ukraine. Not because America forgot how to build aircraft. Not because Ukraine suddenly became richer or more technologically advanced. But because a country fighting for survival discovered something the Pentagon's trillion-dollar machine had almost forgotten. In a long war, the best weapon is not always the most sophisticated one. It is the weapon you can build by the million, improve by next week, and afford to lose today. In July 2026, a Ukrainian manufacturer received permission to export F-10 strike drones for the United States military and the Pentagon's drone dominance program. Reuters then reported that Washington and Kyiv were moving towards something even larger. U.S. factory producing drones with Ukrainian technology. The old relationship had reversed. America was no longer only arming Ukraine. America was studying it. This is the story of how a nation invaded by a larger power became one of the world's most important drone laboratories, and why its success exposes a dangerous weakness inside the American war machine. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022, Ukraine did not possess a giant modern defense industry. It had talented engineers, Soviet industrial experience, a growing technology sector, and an urgent problem. The enemy had more aircraft, more artillery, more missiles, and more money. Ukraine could not win by matching Russia weapon for weapon. So it changed the equation. Commercial quadcopters became reconnaissance aircraft. Racing drones became precision weapons. Small workshops turned carbon fiber, batteries, cameras, and radio links into systems that could find a vehicle, follow it, and strike it. Software updates moved faster than military procurement cycles. A design that failed on Monday could be modified by Friday. This was not one miraculous invention. It was an industrial learning machine. Soldiers sent feedback directly to developers. Developers changed antennas, frequencies, software, and airframes. Electronic warfare defeated one design, so a new design appeared. Russia adapted. Ukraine adapted again. The battlefield became a violent form of research and development, where every mistake produced immediate data. Traditional weapons programs are built around perfection. They take years to define requirements, test prototypes, negotiate contracts, and begin production. Ukraine's drone industry was built around survival. It rewarded speed, acceptable performance, and constant replacement. That difference changed scale. Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council says the country now has the capacity to produce more than 8 million FPV drones a year. The Ministry of Defense says 95% of the drones it procures are Ukrainian-made. Think about that number. 8 million aircraft is not a fleet. It is an ecosystem. It requires motors, flight controllers, cameras, batteries, antennas, explosives, software, trained operators, repair teams, and a supply network able to keep moving while factories are under attack. No single company creates that system. Thousands of engineers, suppliers, military units, and investors do. Europe noticed. By mid-2026, the European Commission said it had disbursed 3.9 billion euros to procure Ukrainian-made drones. Ukraine also accelerated drone deal agreements that allow partners to buy systems, license technology, and create joint production. The Netherlands, Lithuania, and Latvia were early participants. Germany, Canada, and the United States were preparing similar cooperation. Ukraine was becoming more than an aid recipient. It was becoming an exporter of battlefield knowledge. That knowledge includes long-range weapons. Ukrainian companies developed the Beaver, Ludiai, and Paleonitsia families, while Firepoint placed the Flamingo cruise missile into serial production. Public claims describe the Flamingo as a 3,000-kilometer weapon costing a fraction of many Western cruise missiles. Those performance and price claims are difficult to verify independently, but the industrial idea matters more than one missile. Ukraine is combining inexpensive materials, commercial electronics, and wartime testing to build weapons that are good enough, numerous enough, and rapidly replaceable. The goal is not to create a flawless machine that lasts 30 years. The goal is to create a useful machine before the enemy changes the battlefield. This is where America's problem begins. The United States remains unmatched at building exquisite weapons. A stealth bomber can cross continents. A satellite network can track threats around the planet. A Patriot battery can intercept ballistic missiles. An F-35 is a flying sensor network. But exquisite systems create exquisite prices. When a drone costing thousands of dollars forces a defender to launch a missile costing millions, the attacker may lose the aircraft and still win the economic exchange. When cheap drones arrive in waves, the defender must possess not only advanced technology, but deep magazines, fast factories, and inexpensive ways to respond. Ukraine learned this lesson because it had no alternative. America is learning it because the alternative is becoming unaffordable. The second problem is production speed. The Pentagon is designed to prevent failure, corruption, and unreliable equipment. Those safeguards exist for good reasons. But the same system can take years to approve a platform that may become obsolete in months. A drone's radio, autonomy software, and counter-jamming design can change several times during a single procurement cycle. By the time a perfect specification reaches a factory, the battlefield may have moved on. Ukraine treats a drone more like software. Release it, test it, watch it fail, update it, build the next version. That culture is difficult for a traditional defense contractor to copy. Then comes the supply chain. The U.S. Government Accountability Office says the Department of Defense relies on more than 200,000 suppliers, yet has limited visibility into the lower levels of that network. A Pentagon analysis even found Chinese integration in lower subtiers of the MQ-9 drone supply chain. This creates an uncomfortable contradiction. Washington wants a secure drone industry independent of China. But China dominates many commercial components and manufacturing processes that made small drones cheap in the first place. Replacing those inputs with trusted domestic production is strategically necessary, and often slower and more expensive. Ukraine faces the same dependency, but wartime pressure forced it to improvise, substitute components, and accept rapid redesign. The United States has more capital. Ukraine has more recent experience adapting under fire. That is why buying Ukrainian drones is not an admission that America cannot build them. It is an admission that America cannot instantly manufacture experience. The Pentagon wants hardware, but the real product is the feedback loop, the connection between operator, engineer, and factory, the ability to change a design in days, the willingness to treat attrition as a feature of mass production rather than a procurement scandal. There are limits to the Ukrainian model. Battlefield claims are often exaggerated. Cheap drones are vulnerable to weather, jamming, and rapidly changing defenses. Small workshops may struggle with quality control. Components sourced globally can be interrupted. A design optimized for Ukraine may not work in the Pacific, the Arctic, or a conflict requiring long-range communications. And no drone replaces air defense, artillery, logistics, or trained soldiers. The lesson is not that every expensive weapon is obsolete. The lesson is that a military needs both excellence and abundance. It needs the interceptor that can stop a ballistic missile, and a far cheaper system for the thousands of drones flying beneath it. It needs aircraft that survive in the most dangerous airspace, and disposable machines that make the enemy reveal its defenses. It needs weapons built over decades, and software revised before breakfast. Ukraine's transformation also carries a bitter irony. The country did not choose to become the world's drone laboratory. Its innovation was paid for in destroyed cities, exhausted soldiers, and civilian lives. Every successful design emerged from a battlefield where failure had immediate human consequences. That is why other nations want the technology. They want the lesson without paying the tuition. For the United States, the Ukrainian drone deal is not simply another defense contract. It is a warning from the future. The next great power conflict may not be decided only by who owns the best aircraft, the smartest missile, or the largest defense budget. It may be decided by who can turn commercial technology into military scale. Replace losses faster than the enemy, and learn while the war is still moving. America built the arsenal that won the last industrial war. Ukraine is building the prototype for the next one. And now, the Pentagon is buying a front row seat.